There we go.
Yay.
Okay.
Anyway, I was just saying that it's warm in DC today, which is wild because it was winter like 3 days ago. So,
Oh, good. Yeah, and we're looking at like snow this week, and then next week it's supposed to get up towards 90 in March, which is really normal. And so that's fun.
you're getting what we have now because it is
Oh
80, 80 degrees out today, I think. And it
God.
quite literally this time last week, it was snowing. So,
Right. Too
he,
much fun.
yep. Climate change is terrifying. Um,
It's totally not real. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, I have no idea what anybody is speaking of. Seems fake to
Seems
me.
fake.
That's very funny.
Uh,
Goodness gracious. Hello, and welcome to the Fic List Presents Author's Notes, an interview series where I chat with creative type people about their experiences in and relationships to fandom and fan culture. My name is Erin, and I am a 20 plus year veteran of the fandom trenches and a former professional arts administrator with an interest in bridging the gaps between creators and fandom. In today's episode, I am so very excited to welcome international best-selling author of kinky, queer, erotic, epic fantasy, Alethea Faust. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, especially now that we're here together today. That is truly what a joy.
Right. It's been some time coming, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and we have a mutual friend, which is how we got connected, which is excellent.
Yeah, exactly. And Ada, A.Love is the one who was like, "Hey, you should go on this podcast." And I was like, "Hey, let's do it."
Yeah, I believe Ada's exact words were, "Hey, two good people, here you go." I was like,
Yeah, that
thank you.
tracks.
Yeah. You are accurate. So wonderful. Well, that's lovely. I'm thrilled that you're here. In large part because I think it's so fun to always speak to authors on authors' notes. Like I chose authors' notes as a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to Archive of Our Own and the sort of like,
Right.
yeah, the like additional information that people put in the margins of their fan fictions. But it's always a delight to speak to authors, especially authors who are adjacent to or like write stuff that's like really fandom rich. I think that's always like super fun. So I'm just really glad you're here. I'm really excited.
Well, likewise. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
of course. So to start, I always ask everyone, who are you? What do you do? Is there anything else you
uh,
want to say about yourself that I didn't already say?
right. Oh gosh. I mean, like, I don't know. I am a nerd who makes books and I write kinky, queer, epic fantasy. I never expected that this would be the genre I was gonna write, but like I'm really stoked to have fallen into it. Like I was originally writing horror back in the day, and then I wrote this series as like a COVID catharsis project, and now Sex Wizards has let me like quit my full-time job last year, so I write full
Nice.
time now.
That's awesome. It is so funny how often the sort of like genre fiction folks sort of like flip flop between them. Like,
Oh yeah.
that we had an interview with Chuck Tingle at one point that I mentioned every episode because I,
Amazing.
yeah, right. And he was talking about the same thing. He was like, yeah, like all the genres, like the romance and the horror, like all of that kind of stuff, they're so sort of related that it's not
Right.
necessarily hard in his case at least, and it sounds like maybe in yours, to bop between the two.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like there's something about the like trope beats of romance and horror that sometimes go together like in a way that's kind of messed up, honestly. Like
yeah,
you can make a lot of really fun crossover events happen with horror and romance.
there's a psychological evaluation in there somewhere where you're like, wait a minute, hold on,
Right.
wait.
Uh,
Ah. I also will probably mention this a number of times, but it also reminds me that I think Jacob Tierney, who directed the show of Heated Rivalry, is known for making horror stuff.
yeah.
And the scene where the dad finds them on the lake is such a jump scare, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
oh, here it is.
suddenly
Yeah,
switches
that's
into
so
horror
funny.
movie territory. And we're like, oh God, this could have gone so many different ways. I'm glad he has a great family.
Yeah, so real. Anyway, we cannot go down that that path. But
Sorry,
I did.
derailed immediately.
It's fine. The best of conversations never go the way I plan. How would you then, I guess, personally define or describe fandom? Once again, the Chuck Tingle of it all. This question was because he and I, turns out, have very different definitions and experiences of fandom. So I like asking
Hey,
people. Yeah.
fair enough. I mean, like, I guess my personally held description of fandom is like any works that revolve around somebody else's ideas, I guess. So it's like, you have like you have people who do like fan writing or like fan fiction, and then they do like fan art, and then like I may see people who do like, movie trailers for like really cool animes. And it's like I love delving into the different ways that people interpret somebody's IP. I just find it really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the definition of transformative works. Like, it's
Right.
so fun. I think that's the most fun part of being in fandom, honestly, is the creation of it. Is like,
Yeah.
you get to root around in the sandbox and, like, yeah, just like make little sandcastles out of other people's stuff.
Exactly. And it's like, back in the day, like I used to write a lot of fan fiction, and it was just so nice having like a pre-built world that you could just like, jump off of, or like change one aspect about it and do like, what if they were actually evil, like do the swap fix and stuff like that. Like that sort of stuff was just my bread and butter back in the day. And I do think it really helped make me better at writing characters, because you have to get into somebody's head, even though like you didn't necessarily create them, but you still have to figure out who they are and run with it.
Yeah,
And people will
absolutely.
call you on it if you run with it poorly.
Oh, yeah. Fandom is not shy about feedback.
Right. No, no, they are not.
For better or worse. Yeah, no, and I do think it also really does help with media literacy to be regularly and routinely interrogating anything that you're watching, just to be like, okay, like if I want to play around in the sandbox, I have to kind of learn the rules of the world and figure out what's going on, at least well
Right.
enough to break it. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly it.
super fun. That's awesome. So, I guess, do you have background with regards to fandom? Like, did you engage with any fandoms growing up? Are there any that you engage with now? Like, what's your fandom journey like?
So my fandom journey, like a lot of people my age, like I am firmly in the millennial territory.
Same.
I cut my teeth on the series that shall not be named, but
Mm.
like I used to do like online AOL chat room Harry Potter role plays, like you had your original character and you pretended you were in like the Marauders era and like all this stuff. Like I did a lot of like text role plays when I was younger. And then I started getting into a complete opposite realm in Transformers. I was a big Transformers fandom person for a while.
Ooh.
I went to like BotCon, which is the premier Transformers convention that happened in San Diego. I got to meet Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime.
Incredible.
And
Nice.
yeah, it was a blast. Like it was so much fun. But yeah, I got really into the Transformers fandom, and that was like the one I think I was in the deepest, was
Mm-hmm.
like Transformers around the time that Michael Bay started releasing the 2007 movies and on. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got into the Transformers comics through More Than Meets the Eye, written by James Roberts, who, like, to this day, that run is one of my favorite comic book runs of all time. So
Nice.
that's like where I came from. I like delved into other ones like Voltron. Like I did a Voltron cosplay when that series came out on Netflix, and did a She-Ra cosplay. Like I think that was the last one I did back a few years ago before COVID,
Nice.
and that was like the last foray into fandom. And then I think COVID kind of like killed my want to go to conventions, which kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
hopefully that'll come back someday. I'd like to.
Yeah. That makes sense. Sort of interesting that it's kind of the inverse of what happened for some folks, where COVID was the impetus for them getting into fandom, where a lot of
Yeah.
people who hadn't necessarily been connected to it found community online because they couldn't find community IRL. Um, but yeah, the convention circuit has absolutely changed and been really different since COVID.
I
Admittedly,
believe that.
yeah. And I am one of the few people that still routinely masks in public in my life. And because of that, I always incorporate masks into my outfits. But it's always kind of like, oh, I'm one of very few people here that is wearing a mask. And that's always a little upsetting. Like, yeah, it's a different vibe. No.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And it's funny because like you say that people got into fandom during COVID. I think the reason that like I kind of dipped out of it that at that time was because that was when I started writing Sex Wizards. And like I was posting it on Literotica and AO3 to start, because like I was like, nobody's gonna want to read this series. This is just like a for fun project. So like that became like my little community, was like AO3 and Literotica, and like engaging with the people, the like 20 people who were reading the story when I was posting it on those websites. But then it like started growing from there, and then it kind of turned into its own thing. So
Nice.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of like went the opposite route with it.
Nice. So that actually ties really well into my next question, which was how your relationship might have changed with fandom when you became a professional creator, when you shifted gears to start professionally publishing. Did you notice a shift in the way that you interacted with fandom in general at that point, or with, media writ large? Like, did becoming a professional in the space change that for you?
I kind of had like not, I won't say like an unhealthy relationship with social media, but I had a lot of anxiety around social media before I started publishing. It was one of those things where it's like I would check it obsessively and be mad every time I checked it.
Yeah.
And so like
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and so it was like, I had to like take a big step back from it, especially during COVID, because that was like all you had, It's
Hmm.
like you had whoever you were sharing a house with, if you were sharing a house with anybody. I had my partner with me, and then like I had to find a way to like engage healthily online. And that was kind of like creating this pen name. My pen name kind of allowed me to like get that degree of separation that I needed from the online spaces to feel comfortable being in them.
Yeah.
And so it like helped tamper down the anxiety a lot. And I like kind of regained a love of interacting with people online after like trust had been betrayed by previous fandoms in the past.
Hmm.
And so like
We've all been
I
burned.
right, we've all been burned.
Yeah.
I definitely got burned by some folks in the Transformers community, and I think that's part of like where that anxiety came from. And
Yeah.
so like by putting this series out and like starting to engage with readers in that way, it kind of like helped heal that social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just been really interesting to like continue with that as I fully quit my job and like now this is my full-time like bread and butter, where it's like there is definitely like a little bit of that anxiety coming back, like a little bit of that weight, but like
Yeah.
by and large it still remains very positive and like very healthy, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
So
That's so fun. I'm going rogue, but I think one of the things about like old school fandom that I really miss, especially like back in the day, I was on Quizilla, I was on LiveJournal, like
mm,
I was
uh-huh.
I was that era of online fandom, and you for sure didn't use your government name when you were
Right.
posting,
No.
and like obviously I play a little bit of a fun game with being known publicly because I'm both on TikTok and I do podcasts. But like part of the reason that the podcast is audio only is that I think a certain amount of anonymity online is for the best. Like I actually think it
Yeah.
makes everything better and safer, and like the whole push to have everybody be like their full government name and everything online, I think is the devil's work. I think that's a bad idea actually.
No, I fully agree. And it's like, I spent a lot of time on like forums and stuff, like completely anonymous like forums. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just like a lot of bad can come from that, but also a lot of good can come from that because it
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it allows you to like explore more of like your actual opinion on things without being judged.
Yeah.
And so like, you get to kind of figure out like who you are and like what you actually believe versus like an echo chamber of what you're seeing and hearing from the people around you. And like, yeah, that's like a whole other deal, anonymity online. But I do think like by and large, it's a positive thing.
Yeah. And well, especially in fandom, I think there's a piece of me that kind of misses the days where it was like me and like no one knew. you know
Right, right.
this was cordoned off in my life, and I say that as someone who like definitively made a podcast to be like we should be talking about this openly, and then being like oops.
Right.
There was a side of this that I didn't think about. I mean, it's fine, that's a whole other conversation. uh
Right.
but yeah, um I would love to talk to you about Sex Wizards.
Sure.
For the folks at home, what is the series? What can you give a brief description of the plot? I will be very, very honest. I haven't read the books. I did obviously do a little bit of research and looked into what the
Right.
series is like. However, when I learned that we were speaking,
No, that's fair. So, Sex Wizards is about a newcomer to a wizard's tower that studies a kink-based magic system.
nice.
So it is like if non-transphobic Harry Potter met your gayest Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So it's
Writing that
like
down.
it. It starts off like you just have your newcomer Domini who comes to this wizard's tower, learns the ropes of magic, pun entirely intended, and then like it kind of evolves into like epic fantasy plot as the series goes on. And I've never like specifically marketed this book as romance because I don't really think it is, but it is definitely like spicy epic fantasy with a lot of polyamorous romantic subplots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. I will be reading it when I get a moment to myself.
Right.
I love that. So, what was the impetus for writing it? Did it come from a specific, like, did you get to have a specific piece of inspiration? Was there something that you were like, I really want to interrogate this thing? Like, was it, I want to make a cool, kinky, like, thing happen? Because that is also super valid. Like,
Right.
yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I the idea for the story popped up during a single like game of Dungeons and Dragons. I was playing D&D
Nice.
with some like old friends from college, and I just finished Lynn Fluelling's Luck in the Shadows
Mhm.
series, which like I really love. It's like one of those like older MM like fantasy staples in the genre. And so like I had just finished reading that, and I remember there's this one scene where this younger guy gets seduced by like this hot older lady wizard. And I just remember thinking like, God, stupid sexy sex wizards. And then like
Nice.
that idea embedded in my brain.
Mm.
And then during that D&D game, I ended up just like jotting down the schools of magic that were going to take place in this world. And it was like, what kinks would be used to create what school of magic. And so like I came up with all of that during a single game of D&D. And then that like sat for a little while in my notebook. And then during COVID, I was writing horror fantasy that like took place in the wake of a world-ending plague. And I was like, oh no, I can't do this right now.
Too
What's gonna make
close.
me yeah, exactly. So it was like, what's gonna make me feel good feelings? And I was like, let's write smut. So we ended up actually starting Sex Wizards like I want to say like right before COVID started, but then like when COVID hit and I was suddenly like working from home and everybody was locked down in isolation, I like just fell into it and wrote the first two books in the series.
Nice. Yeah,
So
that's
truly
awesome.
became a catharsis project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So speaking of the sort of, did the ideas for the schools and the kink system really just come from
Mm.
like this would be fun, or was there like intention behind I want to explore particular things, I want to make sure that I include this or that? Like, was the what was that process like of trying to figure out a whole system based around kink?
Gosh, it's so funny because it was such like what would make sense in a logical way? Because it's like,
Mm.
you think of the school of abjuration, which is like in D&D terms, it's all about protecting and like barriers and wards and stuff like that. And I was like, what would be like an analog to creating this magic? And I was like, okay, I have a background in kink. Rope bondage makes me feel safe. Like that seems like a really good way to like tie those two schools together.
Mm-hmm.
And then like enchantment, which is like, it messes with your with thoughts, it messes with perceptions of things. And I was like, okay, what about humiliation and degradation? Maybe some like mind play, like mental manipulation sort of like play that you do in kink. And that's how like I just kind of went through each school and just tried to figure out like what would kind of make sense in my head. And it's funny because I actually had like a little bit of a crisis around conjuration, which is like the final draft of conjuration ended up being the school that like creates matter, right? And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what would make sense? Obviously, like pregnancy and a breeding kink goes into that, but I am not comfortable writing that. I have like a weird phobia around anything involving pregnancy. So I was like, nope, veto that. So I
Mm-hmm.
ended up with like, we're just going to have like chastity and then the release that comes after chastity. And so
You're like, this other thing squicks me, so here we go.
literally,
Yeah,
yeah, I had
nice.
a friend who was like breeding kink, and I was like, no.
Mm-hmm. You're like, that's the thing about being the one in charge. Is I
Yeah,
get to pick.
exactly. It's I had to pick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so funny. I love that. That's awesome. So I guess then, before the cameras were rolling, so to speak, we were talking about you now have sort of fan fiction and fandom interacting with your works.
Right.
What has that been like?
It's
Especially writing something that is in the romance genre. I'd be interested to hear your experiences.
it's wild. Like, so because this is like such an ensemble cast and like I have this whole wizard's tower that's full of people, I always like had this thought of like, man, this would be a really cool setting for like a self-insert character. And now it's like that's happening. Like I
Nice.
actually have like I don't read the fan fiction that is
Mm-hmm.
written in my series for reasons because like I don't want to accidentally scrape somebody's idea. Like
Yeah.
I know one person who's really active on my Discord has like a story that's like about somebody who I think who's like a tattoo artist. And I was like, I've got like a tattoo lore that I want to figure out how to put into the series, but I haven't had a chance yet, so I'm not going to read this. And
Yeah.
so like I don't want to like scrape any ideas, but
Yeah.
it's been really wild seeing like people take this world and like run with it. And like I've had people create like fan art and it's actually come to this point where like one of my fan artists and I have like started talking and now we're thinking of like maybe doing like a graphic novel adaptation of like a
Mm.
short story together. And it's just like it's been such a cool little community that's built up around the series. Like I never imagined that this would be what it would come to, but it's really, really cool seeing people engage with the story like I used to engage with stories in the past,
Yeah.
just like having it be a comfort character, having like a comfort setting, and having people tell me that this is like my world is their comfort setting is just, it's bonkers.
Yeah. That is so cool. And I imagine very flattering in a lot of ways. You know
Oh,
you've
yeah.
made it when you have a tattoo shop pay you of your work. I feel like that is
Right?
pinnacle. Like,
Right?
that's up there. I love
No,
that.
it's exactly it. And it's like when people ask me, like, hey, is it okay if I do like a fan fiction of your story? It's like fan fiction is the biggest form of flattery. Please do.
Hmm.
I want you to engage with it in a way that like makes you feel good because like I know the power in that. And I really appreciate that people ask me, but like, you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. That is always funny. It's like very, very grateful for your politeness. However,
Yeah,
do as you must.
right. Like
Godspeed.
I know Anne Rice really hated it when people wrote fan fiction of her books, and like, people did it anyways.
Yeah, and you know what? Anne Rice was wrong for that, and I'll stand.
Yeah,
I'll stand 10 toes
I
down on that.
fully agree. Anne Rice was wrong for
Yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. Um, I guess let me see. We've already gone so askew of my outline that I'm just like, what?
that.
It's fine. I love
I'm
to.
also the fastest talker on the planet, so I just kind of,
I
you know,
frequently get told to slow down when I speak, and I go no.
yeah. This is why I like failed speech in college. I was like, nope, we're just gonna get this. We're just gonna
Yeah.
take off.
We had this make it cut who's to say my high school had a really I went to Catholic high school and we had
Mm.
an actually really exceptional senior year theology teacher who taught more like speech and debate than
Oh,
theology.
okay.
She wound up going on to be a lecturer at a university instead, which was great. But the main arc of our thing was that we had to read different speeches and theologians like stuff throughout like
Right.
across cultures and religions, and then we had
Hmm.
to pick three and do three speeches over the course of the year, and you had to do each of those speeches within a set amount of time or you failed.
Oh, geez. Oh, no.
Yeah. And it was a way to be like, you have to practice this. That was
Yeah.
really the idea, was like, it's not necessarily about like you have to speak at a certain pace. It's I will know that you did not do the work to do this right if you biff it super hard.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly,
That's smart.
yeah, it was actually a really, really useful class. It was a really like I miss her. She was great. And who'd have thought that I'd be here talking about voice and vision class in the
Right.
year of our Lord 2026. Anyway,
Uh,
let's see. What do I know? I kind of also want What's your favorite part of being an author? That's not a question I wrote. That's just a question that comes to me.
oh man. I mean, uh, so like I'm a world building nerd, and
Yeah.
like my favorite thing to do is like sit down and just like vividly hallucinate about world building. So it's like right now I'm starting to outline. I'm a pantser, but I
Mm,
am starting to like figure out what the next story I'm gonna write is. And
nice.
it's been really fun trying to figure out like demon lore for that because that's not something I ever got to explore before. So we're now
Ooh.
figuring out demon lore and how that relates to like divinity in this world, and it's been so fun to just like lay it all out and just like how does the magic work? How does the world revolve around that magic? Or does it? Like, how do the characters interact with this magic? And like, how do they connect with one another through it? And it's just so much fun to just figure that out. Yeah, it's funny because like I've been reading Iris Foxglove, who I have to give a shout out to because like I've not read a series that has like sucked me in quite as hard as this one has. I read like I think their entire backlog since the beginning of the year, whereas like last
Wow.
year I read like maybe three books. Like I just was not reading last year.
Yeah.
But they have this like amazing world that's like set up around like a biological kink imperative, which like in fan fiction like you have like that as like a trope that is used pretty regularly
Yeah.
in kinky fan fictions, and like I just never seen that like in its own fantasy world and like with such cool like consequences for the characters. It was just so well done. And so like I know I'm running on like a total tangent, but like it's
Run
just
free.
really cool. Yeah. It's just really cool like seeing how authors can like just take like these little like snippets of fan fiction ideas and like turn it into like a whole other thing in a world.
Yeah.
It's so fun to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I also have like a deep love for fiction, fan or otherwise, that
Hmm.
establishes constraints or a system within a world and then really dives into what the implications of that world's system is. So
Yeah.
yeah, like talking about like biologically imperative kink stuff, like I'm
Hmm.
always very interested in the Omega verse, for example, of
Right.
yeah, with stories that are like, and Omega's rights are a thing. Like having a conversation about reproductive rights through this lens is very salient, and also like
Right.
it's complicated by the fact that it's not necessarily only your physical body that is
Hmm.
like, it's also this secondary gender that is now also a part of it, and it's like there's more dynamics at play. I'm always fascinated by that. Obviously, it's great to have smut that's just like, and then we fucked. Um,
Right.
but like, I think it's more fun. It can be more fun to get really into the like the politics of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like even with this like kink-based magic system, like that could go horribly wrong. And we
Mm-hmm.
explore how it goes horribly wrong
Yeah.
in the series. And like I actually had kind of like a crisis when I was first getting book one finalized because like, in this book it's like you have to have like a foil. You have to have an enemy to the crux, which is my wizard's tower. And I was like, okay, like what would be a good foil for these characters? And it was like, oh, wizards who do magic poorly and like don't respect consent and like force people or coerce people into it. And it's like I had like a lot of feelings about going that route and like I
Mm-hmm.
don't regret it, but like there are things I do wish I had done a little differently in book one and book two. But like I really like delving into like, yeah, there are consequences to like this magic system. Like it's not sure you get like a lot of fun like whips and chains and ropes and smut and like it's always fun smut, but like there's also like a very real dark side to that idea that I feel like it wouldn't do the story justice to not explore it on some level.
Yeah.
And like there's some people who get really mad about that aspect of the story where it's like they just want the smut. And it's like, you know what, you can have that, but like you're gonna want to skip some chapters.
Yeah. I will let you know that from this page to this page is not for you. Uh,
Right?
yeah. No, and it's like you can't be all things to all people, right? Like that is one of
Yeah.
the sort of foundational truths of creating is that inevitably someone's going
Hmm.
to be like, "I don't like this." And I'm going to be like, "You could put it down."
Yeah, yep. It's like you don't have to pick it up. And it's like I know from the very start that like having super kinky, super queer, like mixed queer, like MF, FF relationships, like MX relationships, that was not going to be for everybody. And like, because that's like the one thing I've really found out about like the professional side of things. I feel like
Yeah.
in fan fiction, there's like a lot more leeway of just like everybody's fucking. It's fine. Nobody like there's no like this is a hard MM role. We're only gonna have like this guy is the top and this guy is the bottom. And it's like I don't feel like that's as much a thing in fan fiction. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just like the type of fan fiction I was reading, but like in like the publishing world, I found that like those roles are so much more important to people,
Mhm.
and it's frustrating to me because like I don't want to write strictly MM. I don't want to write MF. I don't want to write strictly anything. I want to
Yeah.
just have these characters be who they are and like explore with who they're going to explore with. Like when I first started writing book one, I thought my main character was going to get with this lady like goat woman named Marguerite. I thought they were going to get together in book one, and then that
Yeah.
did not happen, and it went a totally different route. And it's just interesting that so many people hold so firmly to like those defined roles when that's not what I. It's just not what I want to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are certainly elements of fandom that are like that, but I think you're right that it's
Right.
not the majority. And certainly, I think in an older era of fandom, it would have been seen as kind of odd to be that.
Hmm.
Like, it's like the whole point is that we're kicking around in the sandbox. Did you not get the
Right.
memo? Like, we talked about this. Like, we're just here
Exactly.
to
It's like
goof off. Like, what?
if you're gonna get like really uppity about who's on top and you're like Kirk and Spock fan fiction, like I just
Yeah, it's like there might be, fandom might have decided, right? Like
right,
sometimes fandom decides.
right.
Like there are certain people
Somebody
who are
just
like,
gives off like big bottom energy, and it's like,
yeah,
well, you know what? We'll run with that. That's
yeah.
fine.
Or you can't fight it. But then even sometimes the designated, it's like it can be fun to like flip it and be like, what if?
Right.
What if?
Yeah.
And maybe that's not your bag, but that's fine. Like somebody out
Yeah.
there is writing it, and that's cool, and that's what's fun with fandom. Speaking of the sort of like the professional side of it and like sort of
Hmm.
living in the real world of it all, which is like the real world is not
Oh God.
Yeah, recognizing all the many bad things that are happening in the world right now.
Oh boy.
With, I guess, the rapidly increasing rise of conservatism in particular in the US and most of the
Uh,
Western hemisphere, especially around books. I feel like books have
mhm.
been a fighting ground for a long time, in print media in particular. What has been your experience in publishing and promoting explicitly queer and kinky books? Have you had like any significant great challenges or unexpected sources of support or affirmation? Like, what has been the gamut?
Right. So I'll say this, it has changed drastically in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2025 hit like a fucking brick shit house.
Yeah.
And of course, that was the year I quit my day job. So that's been a fun, anxiety riddled experience.
Yeah.
But like pre 2025, I had weirdly unprecedented success with marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just because like I think it was like a perfect storm of like, oh, this series is called Sex Wizards, so we're gonna advertise with some tongue in cheek, and like that was my method of advertising. Is like I figured if my TikTok videos made me laugh, they'd make somebody else laugh, and
Yeah.
that proved to be very true. So it's like the
Relatable.
series, yeah. So it's like I published this book in like October of 2021, I think, and then of January 2022, it went viral.
Mm.
And like ever since then, it's just like continued to like have those little spikes of like people picking it up and reading it and talking about it. But like sometimes it's my own videos that go viral. And like, they're always like funny 10-second long like shit posts in my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
having like those silly videos take off, like it's been weirdly supportive because like it wasn't until I was really deep into it, like a few years after I published Initiation, that I even started to realize like, oh yeah, there's some like readers who won't touch a book that has like MF content in it. Or it's like, oh, there are readers who won't read FF content. And it's like I was like sheltered from all of that in a
Mm-hmm.
weird way, which was really nice because like I just was writing the series as it was meant to be. And it's been really interesting. Like, I feel like people are doubling down more on like those viewpoints. And I don't know if it's so much like I don't know if it has anything to do with like the rise of conservatism in the US, but like I do feel like in recent years it has gotten a lot harder for queer stories of any flavor to get any sort of reach.
Yeah.
TikTok was bought by a US company, and that's been a shit show.
Yep.
Instagram and Meta have always been a shit show. And anymore, it's just like I'm grateful that my series hit when it did because I don't think that would happen now. And I think that's intentional that it's not happening now. And it's just been frustrating because like I try and like mentor new authors who are coming in. Like people will message me being like, "Hey, I am writing this series and like how should I go about doing this?" And it's like I'll try and like give advice where I can, but it feels like the advice I'm able to give is just no longer relevant to the world that's around us.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly frustrating because I know indie authors are struggling a lot right now because of the world being what it is. Like the economy's a shit show, the US is a shit show, and it's like it's that awful like trickle down effect of like if there's hate coming from people in the positions of power in our country, then like of course it's going to trickle down into the people who are consuming these stories.
Yeah.
And like it's incredibly frustrating. So that's not like a happy lighthearted note, but like damn, this
Yeah.
is why I write what I do, is to fight back against that.
Yeah, no, that's totally real. And I don't think everything has to be like super upbeat and happy because we are not living in happy, upbeat times for most, I would
Right.
say most people.
Yeah.
There's a very small but powerful minority who are very pleased with what's going on, and fuck them,
Right.
honestly. So,
Literally.
yeah. So, yeah. As you were speaking, I was like, oh, we had a somewhat similar arc with this
Oh yeah.
podcast and that sort of timeline.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, where we dumb little TikTok I made about an AO3 fanfic getting deleted and me being sad about it hit a million views out of nowhere in like
Holy
2022.
cow.
And I was like, oh boy. And we went from having like 3 followers to having like 30,000, which for me on
Right.
TikTok was like, I'm good. That's plenty.
You're like, I don't.
All good. I get freaked out
Do
going
not
to
perceive me.
yeah, I was like, I get freaked out going to a convention and seeing 400 people in front of me. I don't want to know what
Right.
30,000 is like. I'm not NoahCon.
Ooh.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
but like that, it was really consistent that I did well, like with my queer fan fiction, whatever, just like goofball content. It's not like I was doing anything
Right.
groundbreaking there. And around the same time in 2025, I think it really does have to do with the changeover of a lot of media in this
Yeah.
country in particular. I'm lucky if I get 10,000 views on a video now, where I used to
Oh gosh.
routinely hit like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
That was like a good viral like moment for me, was like a couple
hmm
100,000 views, and then I would usually land somewhere in like the 50,000 or so, like on average, and then occasionally you'd get one that was like two. I was like,
Right.
okay.
It's like cool. Just got to keep you humble, I guess. Like,
Yeah, which is fine. Sometimes I did get too
yeah.
big for my britches, and I must be humbled sometimes. That's okay. It's all good.
Uh,
But yeah, like I have a very similar sort of frustration with seeing things devolve so rapidly and change, especially like as different media outlets continue to merge and like the same three people own things now. I'm like, this is why. Like, this is why
yeah.
things are bad.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
toss in AI into that and like
Oh
bots
God.
and all that kind of stuff, and everything's bad. Like,
Yeah. It's like I can't imagine trying to get what I'm doing started this year, last year. I just feel like there's so many like AI accusations that get thrown around, and like so many of them are like unfounded, but then like also some of them are totally founded, and like
mhm,
the people who are actually using AI to write their books aren't getting bullied enough. And it's just like it's such a weird, I don't know, like toxic situation anymore. And
mhm,
like that's really frustrating because this series started as like my catharsis project, and I feel like that community I found has changed so much in like the past couple of years that like the greater reach that I was experiencing, like just it doesn't happen anymore, and that
yeah,
community has just been scattered because of whether it's like the algorithm changing in such a way to like make it so these people can't connect with each other on that front, or like divisiveness within the community itself that's just causing people to separate again.
yeah,
And it's just like it's incredibly frustrating. Oh God,
yeah.
fucking AI.
Look at AI. Yeah, and
uh,
Ada and I talked about it at length, and they were
yeah,
like, "Yeah, no, it's bad. It's just bad."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's just bad. And I get so frustrated when I see, you know, there's this one, I won't name who, but there's this one author that started popping up on TikTok around the same time as me.
Mm.
And I genuinely believe that they started like it started with writing their own books because like,
Mhm.
it was 2021-ish, and like you had to, because that wasn't like a thing that was capable. You couldn't have AI write your books yet.
Yeah.
But now like I've published I'm going to be publishing my fifth book, the fifth full length book this year. That same author has published 174 books in the past, however many, 5 years. And it's like, I know a lot of people who are fast writers. I don't know anybody who's that fast of a publisher, because like writing a book and then publishing a book is a whole other deal.
Right.
So like, it's just, I just
Mhm.
get so frustrated when I see shit like that.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, what's the point, Like, what's the joy in it? You're not creating anything. You're feeding an idea into an algorithm and then having it spit out words at you, and that's not creating.
Right. To cycle it back around, I think that is why fandom is so like can be so good, is that is like
Yeah,
anathema to this sort of like homogenous regurgitation of creation. Like the whole point of fandom is to get your hands dirty. And
right.
if you're not doing that, you're not doing fandom, in my opinion. The people who do
Exactly.
write AI fanfic, you are my mortal enemy. What is the point?
What is the point? Because it's
Yeah.
like that's the whole, yeah, like what you're saying is the whole point of fandom is to like take this world, or take this idea, take these characters and do something with them that you want to see.
Mhm.
And it's just yeah, just being able to like generate that on and not have any of like the thought process behind it is just, it's baffling to me. I just genuinely do not understand the appeal.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
it's boggling.
Yeah. No, the same thing. Sometimes, every once in a while, someone will be like, "Oh, why don't you just use ChatGPT?" And I'm like, "I'd rather eat nails." Like,
Right? It's
no.
like, please, I
Yeah.
would rather choke.
I
Thank you.
actually really like my brain. Like sometimes it's a little bitch, but most of the time it's great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually true. One time, many years ago, this was even before AI, so this was not necessarily an AI conversation, but I was
hmm
sitting with. I used to work in theater. I was sitting in a green room chatting with some actors during like
Right.
intermission or whatever, And at the time, I was regularly attending Quaker meeting, which, if you are familiar with Quakers, the idea is you basically sit in silence for an hour on a Sunday morning. And
Right.
maybe someone is moved to speak. In the meeting I was attending, many people had
Uh-huh.
thoughts on NPR from that morning. And I was like,
Oh.
what if we didn't? But, so mostly it's sitting with your thoughts for an hour. And I was like, oh,
Right.
that is actually very soothing to me. Like,
Yeah.
I am not a particularly religious person, but just having a space to sit and live in my own brain and not be pulled in 7 directions once every week when I was working 80 hours a week was
Oh.
incredibly valuable for me. And the person I was speaking with was like, oh, I can't sit by myself for that long in my own brain. I was like, you should work on that.
Right, right. Yeah, like boredom is a skill that a lot more people need to cultivate. And like especially like yeah, and, I could say this even from when I was a kid with like the onset of the internet. Like I remember a time before computers being readily available in houses and stuff like that. But like anymore, it's just everything's a dopamine hit. Everything has to be happening all the time, all at once.
Yeah.
And like there's no opportunity to just like sit and be bored anymore, which is like anymore, I'll go out to the barn, I'll leave my phone in my car and I'll just sit in the like pasture with my horse. I will watch him munch grass. It's boring and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not to be I don't want to sound holier than thou against other people. I also like the dopamine hit. I am
No,
equally as
totally.
guilty. But there is value to it, like the sitting and just living in your mind, because you've got to like live in there. And if you truly can't, like that concerns me a lot, that there are people who truly cannot just like sit and play a movie in their brain or like just let the thoughts go. And I was like, that's where the creative juices go. That's where the cool ideas come from. That's that's how you develop who you are. Like you got to do that. You got to do the internal stuff.
Right.
Otherwise,
Yeah, it's like we can't all just be like walking memes every day or like walking content every day, you know? It's you have to have like some introspection and like I have anxiety, I have ADHD. I also have a hard time sitting in silence and like thinking my own thoughts, but it's good for me. So
yeah.
Sometimes you got to make that conscious decision.
Yeah. Do you ever, this is so, I'm going to be vulnerable for a minute. Do you ever reach a point where you just drive in silence?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hit that point the other day.
Oh God, dude, when I get in like the depths of writer's block, that's like my go-to is I will go and I will like go for a drive at night and I will just go and drive around until I have to come home.
Yeah.
And it does, it helps.
It does. And like, there's not much about American culture that I can be like, this is like pure and good. Right. But the culture of like, let's go for a drive does feel very American, and also it feels so good to like just go and like, especially when it's warm out, you can have your windows down to just like coast, especially if there aren't other assholes on the road ruining your day. Like
right. This is why night is my favorite.
Yeah, it's really like there's something to that experience that is so profoundly human and helpful. And like, there was a stressful day at work and I just got in my car and I was like, I can't even listen to music right now. Like I can't. Just have to be
just too overstimulated.
Yep. I just need silence, and that's what I did. And I was like, okay. And then I felt better, so it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it truly does. Like I used to have a have you ever done like do you do any tabletop games?
No. It's one aspect of nerddom that I have not picked up on.
No, that's fair. Yeah. That's like my big one now is like I do like a lot of D&D campaigns, but there's this other game that I played. It's White Wolf is the producer developer, but it's a Vampire the Masquerade, and I had a Vampire the Masquerade campaign that I would drive to a neighboring town for, and it was like half an hour drive, so like nothing terrible, but like having that drive every week was great. Because you just got to think there and back, and like tabletop gaming has always been like a big source of like creativity for me anyway. And so the tabletop gaming is like such an inspirational thing that it's like you go and you're excited and you're thinking all of these like grand thoughts about like the game, and then somehow that translates into thinking about like your own stories and the own books you want to write, and then you come back and you do the same thing and you're like hyped about it, and it's just super super helpful to just go for a drive when you're in like that creative mindset.
Yeah. That is so true. I also, my friend Caitlin, who listeners of this podcast know, we also sometimes will just be like, we're going to McDonald's and we're going to go sit in a car, which is our American birthright, and eat chicken nuggies in a parking lot somewhere in the dark.
Right.
And that also is like one of those things where I'm like, this is very American and I don't
Yeah.
care.
Right.
It's good for me, actually.
Right. It's like, that's the thing that pisses me off is like anymore there's like this mindset of just like, oh, everybody's ashamed to be an American. It's like, no, I'm proud to be an American. I'm just pissed at what America's been and I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be better.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you talk about like American culture and like how Americans don't have culture. And in a lot of instances, I fully believe that. But at the same time, the like small vestiges of culture we do have are great and I want to have them be better because it's just been so bad for so long and it seems to only that the bad aspects of it are getting amplified right now and I want that to not be a thing anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And like one of the things, there's a line here that I'm going to walk somewhat carefully.
mm,
But I feel like one of the main things that differentiates the US historically versus other colonial powers is that we as a country are very forthcoming with our faults.
yeah.
We are clearly like when we're wrong, we're big wrong. And
Yeah, and we're loud about it apparently.
yeah, and I kind of think that's better in a
Yeah.
weird way because I was like, this is why I get very frustrated when I'm on TikTok or whatever, and someone from like England or like one of those like countries is like, oh, you dumb Americans, like you whatever, and I'm like, I am not going to brook accusations from a country that how many countries have Independence Days from your country?
Yeah,
Like
right.
how many, like I'm all for like we should absolutely be critiquing this country, but like who is doing the critiquing and what they're critiquing is important because
Yeah.
there are also a lot of people in this country who are here just trying to eke out a living and do what they can
Yeah.
to survive, and I think people really forget that the underbelly of this country is the working class. And this is
Yeah.
a heavily working class country. The people you
Mhm.
see on TV, the people you hear about, the people you read about the news, they are our oppressors as a working
Yeah.
class. So
Yep.
like that's who we can all be mad at.
Right.
It's
There
the
is no
class
more
war.
about class war, baby. Like,
Correct. Ada was right. I do like you. Anyway,
God,
but
no,
yeah,
and it's so real. That's been like the weird thing of just, seeing online of just like people in other countries being like, why aren't US citizens doing anything? It's like
yeah,
you don't understand.
yeah.
The people here, if they walk out from their jobs, they
Mm-hmm.
will lose their health insurance and their job, and
Yeah.
none of us can afford that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, oh, it's so frustrating in so many ways.
Yep. And the critique of, hey, we're not doing enough, like, has some merit too. Like, there have been
Sure.
other struggles around the world where people had very little and, like, did the most to fight for what they needed to do. So, like, again,
Yeah.
who's doing the critiquing and what the critique is really important in the conversation. And the
Yeah,
internet is where
absolutely.
nuance goes to die. So,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Dude, Threads the past few days has been
Mm-hmm.
such a shit show. I like have had to disengage. It's gone back
Yeah.
to that like anxiety riddled place
Mm-hmm.
of social media and I'm like, I'm done. I gotta just edit my book.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the kinky wizards. They were cool. Yeah. Super valid. I do that with some of my comfort fanfics I go back to. I'm like, all right, Ilya, Shane.
God, right?
Are we
Dude.
how are we resolving Vegas subdrop today?
I really should. It's been a while since I've like read some of the like Transformers comfort fan fiction I've had,
Yeah.
but like there's this one author who went by I think the Star Horse or just Star Horse
Mm.
on fanfiction.net and AO3 because that's how far back my crap goes. Is I was on fanfiction.net
Oh yeah.
like
Same. I,
and so
I remember when it
like
got big and I remember when it fell. So
yeah, right. Oh God, the fall of fanfiction. uh, but I just like I haven't gone back to visit those stories in some time, and I feel like yeah, that's like a very good idea for like a little bit of much needed catharsis. Is
yeah.
like go back to when you were like barely in college and you were enjoying reading fan fiction.
Yeah. We're called the nostalgia generation for a reason, man.
Yeah,
We
no, it's
super are.
real.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we can bring this back around. We can loop back around to the happy,
Yeah,
happy joy joy. I'm having a great time
right.
talking to you is what I just said.
It's the
talking.
sex wizards. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm leaning in, talking to you, despite the heaviness of the topics at hand.
Dude, likewise.
Yeah, this is great. Um, I'm wondering if you have any other favorites right now. Like, what else are you reading? Are there shows that you're watching? Like, what are some of the things that you're finding inspiration in right now in times of struggle? Like, what's out
Oh,
there? What are you loving?
I'm so glad you asked. Okay, so
Yeah.
like this is a thing that I feel like nobody else than like the romance sphere or like my indie author sphere is watching or right now. And like I'm obsessed with Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And I did not like Game of Thrones that much, but Night
Interesting.
of the Kingdoms is like the whimsical side of Westeros that I always wanted. It's like
Nice.
a hedge knight and a kid go on grand adventures together. And it's like that
Excellent.
is all I want. It's so fun and like also has like such queer undertones that like it is I was even thinking it like as I was watching, I was like, this is ripe for fan fiction and I want
Nice.
to read it.
Excellent.
uh,
Yeah.
so like Night of the Seven Kingdoms has really been like the thing that I've wanted to delve most into recently. I've also been playing Claire Obscure, the video
Mhm.
game. This was the thing I realized when I went full time is I forgot how to have hobbies. And so I was like,
Yeah.
what did you used to do? And
Hmm.
so I was like, oh, I used to play video games. I used to work at GameStop. Like go back to playing video games. So I did
Yeah.
Claire Obscure, and now I'm on a night kick, obviously. So I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which like say what you will about the developers, I didn't realize who he was until after the fact. But like the game itself is really fun. It's just like night hijinks, and apparently that's all I want right now is just more night hijinks.
Yeah. You're like, I have a type. The type is
Yeah, I have a
medieval.
type. Yeah, I have a type, and it's like medieval himbo. Like,
So good. A Knight's Tale sounds like the right movie to be
oh my
rewatching.
God, dude, my favorite movie. I'm also like, I do Renn Faire stuff, so like I
Yeah.
joust in Renn Faire shows, so like it all comes together. I am one person who wants to be a knight.
Incredible. A of all, love the Renn Fair. I go every year now because I live close enough to go to the Maryland Renn Fair, which is quite a
Nice.
sizable one, and it's really
I've
fun.
heard.
Yeah, so if you're ever on the East Coast and wish to go, I live close enough that you could crash in my guest room.
I would love that. I've heard Maryland is really good. I've heard Pennsylvania is really good. The one there near me is like 3.5 hours away, which really
Mm,
sucks. But like
yeah.
it's fun. It's a big one. Someday I'd really like to go down to Texas and actually like joust in the competition because there used
Yeah.
to be a jousting competition in a town
Mm-hmm.
close to me, but the competition side, I like competed 1 year or 2 years before COVID, and then the competition like fell apart during COVID. And now we have like a show that we do up there, which is really fun. But like I do want to compete in jousting again.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah. You're like, it's different. I must win.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's very
And it's so
funny.
funny because in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, there's like this big joust that happens in like the final episode or the second to last episode. And there's this one shot of Dunk, who's like the main character. It's like through his visor during this joust. And I had such a visceral flashback in that moment. I was like, oh my God, it just won me over entirely. It was so good.
I love that. That's so funny. I've started hosting sort of seasonal potlucks, and my spring potluck theme, which I was very proud of, I was like, the vibes are Beltane meets Lilith Fair.
Oh my God.
Renn Faire garb welcome.
Amazing.
So if you're doing
Oh,
anything in
that's so
May,
good.
yeah. I was like, yeah, these are the vibes. I love it. And I think there's just something like the Venn diagram of fandom nerds and Renn Faire nerds is probably a circle.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I
or
feel like it
close
has to
to.
be.
Yeah.
Right.
And like one of my talking about happy places and like thing to do that like allows you to have brain space that isn't like the endless dopamine hit. Sewing for me is one of those things. And I haven't
Oh, nice.
been doing as much of it recently because it's like my
Hmm.
schedule has just been bonkers. But like
Right.
making the cosplay for AwesomeCon this weekend, which it won't be next weekend when this inevitably comes out, but and you know at the time of recording it's this weekend.
Right.
Like just focusing on like putting together a jacket has been so great. And like I'm so looking forward to like adding pieces to my Renn Faire wardrobe and like picking out like
Yes.
making more stuff. And like I made myself and my coworker who's a dear friend of mine like corset like dresses, so it was like the
Oh,
corset top
nice.
that like went out into like a long skirt that you could then like hike up. And people at the Renfo were like, oh my God, that's so beautiful, where'd you get it? And I was like, I made it.
That's the best feeling where
So
it's like you get a
good.
compliment on it. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, this whole thing. Like,
Yeah. I'm like, I made it. The only thing is I forgot to put in pockets. Hmm.
oh, oh,
Disaster. but that's what a belt is for.
Belt and pouches.
Belt.
Those
Many
are
pouches.
aesthetic and also very fun.
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely. This has been so delightful. I feel like we could continue chatting for the next 3 hours.
right.
However, I would love to end our conversation tonight with one of my favorite questions to ask people. And it is sort of one that really I think is like the thesis of this whole series. And that is there anything that you wish fandom or fans better understood about being a professional creator, in your case, author? And vice versa, is there anything that you wish professional creators or authors better understood about fandom and fan culture?
Oh man. Okay, so like from a creator to fandom people, the infighting has to stop. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's such like and like I don't mean this in a disparaging way. It's such low stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if so and so is with so and so versus somebody else that you ship? Who cares? Like it's just that sort of like infighting that gets so heated and like so toxic so quickly. And like
Yeah.
I even think of like the toxicity of like as much as I loved heated rivalry, the
Yes.
fandom has turned into such a cesspit. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how can you take something that was like such a vibrant beacon for people who needed it so badly when it first happened, that like this is what it's turned into, God, not even like 6 months later.
Yeah.
Like it just it frustrates me so much that these are the hills that people are willing to die on. You know, it's like there are
Yeah.
so many other things to be worrying about and so many other things to be fighting so vehemently about that this is as low stakes as it gets. Let people enjoy things. Let people enjoy things.
Yep. I'm with you 1,000%. And
God.
you know, I catch myself bean souping all the time where I'm like every
Mm-hmm.
time I try to have a conversation about something, like I almost just did it right then, where I was like, well, with the caveat that, and I'm like, no, let people enjoy things. And
Right.
like it's fine. Like again,
Yeah.
it's we're playing dolls in the sandbox. Like
Yeah.
go to a town hall for Christ's sake.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly it. It's like call your fucking representative.
Yeah.
Like,
Take a third of
uh,
that energy and go yell at an alderman, okay?
yes. Yes. But then like on the flip side of that, like for like creatives engaging with the fandom, like realize that as soon as you put something out there, it no longer fully belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you can't be precious about it. People are going to do things and you may not like them. And that's how it is. Like,
Yeah.
when you put yourself out publicly, like, there was a whole debacle on threads about like a cover recently. And like, this cover got like a lot of criticism. I'm like, I don't agree with the criticism in a lot of ways, but like, it's also like not going to be your place to like bite back, you know, like
Yeah.
when you're like a public figure, which I say that with like heavy quotation marks, like when you put the thing out there, it no longer belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever criticism you get is what you're going to get. And like it sucks a lot of the time. It sucks. Like I've
Yeah.
been dogged on for various things regarding my books in like a public way and it never feels good, but
Yeah.
also like put your energy towards doing what you do, which is writing your books. There will always be somebody out there who likes them for what they are, and
Mm-hmm.
who not even just likes them, who loves them for what they are. And there's going to be somebody who hates your cover. There's going to be somebody who loves your cover. There's going to be somebody who hates your love interest. There's going to be somebody who absolutely like is a soulmate with your love interest.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a say, and that's okay. Like that's the joy of it is
Yeah.
like you get to just do what you're doing and people are going to take it as they will and hopefully with luck you'll find the audience that loves it
Yeah.
and I fully believe that there's an audience for everything so
Mm-hmm.
you will find somebody that loves it.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I think that's really great advice. And I think it does circle back to when we were talking about earlier. Like, you can't be all things to all people, but you
Yeah,
can be something important to someone.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like when I went to my first like book event, which was Readers Take Denver, which was a shit show of its own caliber. But like I had one person come up to my table and be like, "Oh, you're the reason I got this. Like the reason I got the ticket to this event." And I was like, "Oh my God, like what a weird, like surreal feeling. Also, I'm so sorry that Readers Take Denver was such a shit show, but like, thank you for coming and seeing me. Like,
Yeah.
you have no idea, like, the world that it meant to hear those words from somebody I'd never met before, you
Yeah.
know? Like, it's a surreal feeling.
Yeah.
So,
That's so lovely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. It has been so good to make your acquaintance and to
Yes, likewise.
Ada was 1,000% right. You're lovely, and this was excellent. I'm so glad. Can you tell the listeners at home where they can find you, where they can find your books, how they can support you if they're interested?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, I am beholden to one of the corporate behemoths that I wish I wasn't. I'm fully on Amazon. All my books are on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, which requires exclusivity, which is why they're not anywhere else. I also have my books on audiobook. Let's see here. Book 5 of the Sex Wizard series is going to be coming out in June of this year. The exact date will be announced all across social media, and I am, for better or worse, all across social media.
Wee!
Wee! Yeah, and like I guess the best way to support me is like buy my books in whatever way works best for you. Don't pirate them, please. I will give you a free copy if you cannot afford them.
Nice.
I'm always happy to hand out copies. So
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. This was a blast.
Absolutely. Once again, a huge, and I mean huge, thank you to Alethea for taking the time to speak with me on this podcast. We recorded this, but I mean, here we are in the outro, friends, and we recorded this many months ago, and Alethea has been so patient with me as I sort of get it together to edit it and give it your way, but I am so genuinely thrilled to bring it to you. Also, delightfully, I have more specific information about Sex Wizards Book 5 called Homecoming. It is forthcoming. You can actually pre-order the book now, and pre-ordered books will ship as close to release day on June 30th as possible. So if you're interested in learning more, getting your hands on any of Alethea's books, shopping around, you can find all of that information on www.aletheafaust.com. And of course, go ahead and follow on social media. You know that that's the way. You know that that's how things are. So please do give Alethea a follow and enjoy their work, because you know what? What a delight. I also wanted to give a quick but enthusiastic shout out to our Ko-Fi supporters, friends of the pod. You know who you are. We love you. Danielle, Rose, Charlotte, Marina, Sly, Dion, Allie, and Leo. Y'all are the best. This is probably happy Pride, everybody. This is probably going to be the last episode for a little bit in terms of author's notes specifically. Life's been busy. It's been a lot, and I'm good, but I also need a break. So I'm gonna probably take the summer and to just like chill. But hopefully we'll come back probably in the school year in the fall with more interviews for you. If you or someone you know is interested in being interviewed, if you're a creative professional and interested in talking about fandom and your relationship to fandom, please do send us an email at theficlist@gmail.com because I am looking for interviewees, and I think I'd be interested to hear from folks outside the sort of normal, quote-unquote normal realm that I've been in so far. So if you're a designer, stage manager, musician, like anybody of any creative persuasion, please do holler. I'm interested. Me and Alan hung out. So for you listeners to the regular pod, the OG Fic List, we are talking about recording an episode soon, hopefully, now that both of our sort of lives have allowed for us to be more regularly reading fanfic and enjoying it. So I think we have some things to talk about, and we have a lot to catch up on, and we're hoping to loop you guys into that. So if you're a fan of the OG, that may be forthcoming. I've refused to make promises, but it is something that we're talking about. So fingers crossed that comes through. And in the meantime, really take care of yourselves, enjoy Pride, celebrate joyfully, be who you are, nothing more, nothing less. And hopefully we'll chat again soon. Love y'all. Bye.